Now this video has been about 2 weeks in the making because I was in actual fact unboxing this guy, getting him all ready and just doing the normal type of thing I do on this channel, and then all of a sudden I found a few problems with the figure that needed sorting. The first thing I needed to do was sort out a few missing parts, and then there was other problems with the figure in terms of damage. So the first half of this video is going to look quite normal. I'm going to be unboxing him and whatnot, and then we're going to jump straight to the problems I had, the things I needed to get sorted, and then what I finally did about the whole thing. Okay guys, let's get into this. Hi guys, Billy back, and this time we are going to be looking at the art figures AF026, the Mercenary figure, aka Crossbones from Civil War. Now I've been really looking forward to this because from the looks of it, they've actually done something that they didn't actually show in the promos, but they included in the final product that really gets me excited. And as you can see, that the shipper box is suitably shippery. I don't even know if that's a word, but fuck it, I'm saying it anyway. But yeah, this is a reasonably okay looking cardboard box. It's got our figure logos on the tape here, which is really nice. And then on the side, it's got AF026 figure, TCS, the Mercenary. I don't know what CS stands for, but don't really care, to be honest. It's got a QR code for something, don't know what, but it's there if you want to have a look at it. And it's got the art figures logo, and that's about it. Okay, let's pop this open and have a look at what we've actually got. Now I bought this from gianttoy.com, and they always suitably package their stuff up. They always add like little plastic corner protectors, and they also put it in another box and wrap the whole thing in a plastic cellophane to protect it even more. They really go all out when they're shipping these things out. But anyway, that's just the shipper box. Let's slide out the main packaging, and voila, this is the box. And as you can see, it's got the Mercenary at the top. It's got this skull motif, which actually makes sense now that the final product has come out, and I'll explain why in a minute. But before, that was a little bit like, why the hell have you put that on there? Because, you know, looking at the promo pics, there'd be no reason to show off the sort of Crossbones design on his mask there. It's got a little black gloss sort of motif all around the border. It's quite minimalist in its design, and I really like that. It gives it a very mature feel. And then on the side here, we've got a picture of the figure itself, and it's got the Mercenary on there as well with the actual 1/6 scale collectible, and this has a spot gloss shiny coat all over it. Then around the back again, we've got Art Figure Presents the Mercenary, and it's got a film reel there to suggest that this is something from the movies. Again, that side is just spot gloss with a picture of the figure. It's got the skull motif at the top, and it's got the Mercenary logo on the bottom. Okay, let's slide this off and have a look. And once you slide the slip sleeve off, you can see you've got the Mercenary logo there, and it does have a window. And when you pull it open, you can see that you've got some nice artwork of the figure inside on the left hand side here, just with the Mercenary logo. Quite nice, very sort of spot gloss effect. And then you can have a look here, and you can see that you've actually got the figure inside, and look, it's actually got the helmet, which wasn't teased in the promos. So I'm super looking forward to this, because I pre-ordered this knowing full well he wasn't going to come with the helmet, but lo and behold, he does, which is just one of those nice little extras that you don't expect. So what we're going to do now is going to get everything out of the box, set him up, and have a look at exactly what we get. Okay, and he comes with 2 clam trays. You can see he comes with that one, and he also comes with this one, which has the vest, lots of extra clips and bits and bobs, knee pads, that kind of thing. So there's tons of accessories here. So it looks like it's going to take me a while to set this guy up. Pretty much like the original version they did, that was very stylized and angular. But yeah, we're going to set this guy up, get everything out, and have a look at exactly what it's like. Okay, and just taking the figure out of the packaging, let's have a look at that head sculpt. We can see that that head sculpt looks really good. It's a little bit heavy painted, but it's still quite nice. But it's very nice and glossy and reflective in the eyes. We can see just around the back here, see all the scarring on the head. It's a little bit more flesh tone than I would have expected. I would have thought it would be slightly more reddish, a bit more purpley like in the film. You can see it's all very scarred up, very nice details. I think this actually looks better than the prototype. I think that prototype was very heavily painted and very over the top. but I can see that the facial hair is a little bit glossy, but you can see they've actually gone in with the details here, like he's got facial hair growing on the bottom here like normal, but where it's all scarred up, it hasn't been able to grow through properly, which is very nice detail. It's very similar to the film. It's got some very nice sort of gashes and marks around the face, including sort of like a scar on the lip here, which stops the hair growing through, and it looks pretty good. The colour to the face to the neck is a little bit different, but that's not too bad. However, I will say that the body is insanely bulky for this guy. I mean, Frank Grillo isn't a small guy, but he's not Schwarzenegger size, and this body is very much Schwarzenegger size. I've been trying to feel to see if it's like the angular body from the original version of this that they made, which was all sort of like blocky and sort of artistic in its design, but it's not. It's actually like, looks like a normal realistic body, but it is very, very chunky. And considering he's going to be putting armor on top of this as well, that is a bit of a surprise. That might be for some people, they might want to do a body swap on this, because this guy is very, like, he is like bodybuilder Schwarzenegger size. But never mind. Anyway, the clothing looks pretty good. He's even got layers on. Look, he's got like this nice camel sort of sweatshirt underneath that hides the neck a little bit. And he's got this black shirt on top. Very gloved, sort of cool looking hands. I think these come from the original as well. And he's got these military style combat trousers on with a canvas belt. Looks good. These sort of military boots on underneath as well. They're quite nicely sculpted. They've weathered the soles, which is really good. Nicely designed, but honestly, this is just like one layer to the mani that he's going to get once you've kitted him all out. They've even added sort of like pockets to the side here that you can actually fit things in, which is a really nice touch, a really nice detail. And the pockets for the trousers are real as well, which is cool. I do like it when they go that extra mile to make the clothing as realistic as possible. Okay, and here is everything out of the box, and he comes with a load of extra stuff, including the Crossbones flak jacket that he wears in the movie, and he also comes with the back plate, and once that's fitted on, it should wrap around the back of this like that and make it look extra cool. And then he also comes with the Crossbones helmet, and this isn't angular like the original version they made. This has actually got a lot more of a sort of curved design, very much like in the movie. I think they've gone a bit overboard with the middle nose bit. I think it was a bit more faded, and there was paint over the top of that as well in the film. So I might go over a little bit of acrylic and just rub it on there, a little bit of dry brushing, and bring that big dot down in the middle. But other than that, it looks pretty good. It does open up at the back here, and it seems to be elasticated, so you can actually sort of slide this on and get this around the head somehow. Not 100% certain, haven't pulled it apart to figure it out yet, but I'm sure I will. He also comes with the Crossbone forearm gauntlets. I think these are pretty much the same as in the angular version that they made, the original designed version. There is a couple of blocky pieces to it, but they've added a bit more silver to it to make it look a little bit more movie accurate. However, there are no sort of like bindings or anything around this bit. I'm not sure if these canvas bindings here are supposed to do that, wrap around these bits, because in the film he does have some bindings around the forearm gauntlets. He also comes with lots of different accessories to go on the arms, etc., like these shotgun shells. He's got these shoulder padding bits that actually fit bits on. Comes with weaponry, including this little handgun here. He also comes with a sidearm holster for his leg here. Lots of cartridges, a grenade, even more cartridges. He comes with shin guards. He comes with knee pads. And honestly, I think that's about it. Oh, he also comes with a few extra hands. And as you can see, I think these are not meant to be used with the gauntlets on, because they're just like him holding his firearms. And you can see there's a lot more detail in these as well. He's got sort of like protective knuckle guards on and things like that, which is really cool. But as you can see on the actual figure itself, these do not come with all the extra detail that the other hands come with. And I think that's deliberate, because these are the ones you're supposed to use with the forearm gauntlets, and you don't want these too bulky. These are a bit smaller than these, so that the forearm gauntlets can fit on pretty nicely, and once they are on, you won't be able to see most of this anyway. Okay, so while I was unboxing it, yep, you could tell there was a problem, and the problem was that he was missing the front parts of his gauntlets, which is frustrating because the reason I bought this figure is simply because it's Crossbones and these are sort of his iconic weapon. It would be like Captain America coming along and not having his shield. He needs it, and you wouldn't be happy to do a video without it. So what I ended up doing was contacting KG Hobby. They ended up contacting Art Figures, and then I finally got the parts sent to me to replace, because not only was the gauntlets missing the front part, but the figure had a bit of a major problem. Now this is the original body he came with. It looks pretty good, doesn't it? I mean, this is quite a nice looking third-party body. I mean, it's not the most articulated, single jointed elbows and things like that, but it's quite muscular and it looks pretty good. I mean, one of the problems he's got is that this whole upper arm area is just rubber, so it gets in the way of this shoulder here. Now what I think happened was when they were dressing my figure, they got a bit rambunctious and the articulation on this guy isn't as good, so we ended up breaking the arm. So yeah, when I got the figure out and I was moving it around, the arm was flopping about like a good one in the sleeve. So basically it looks like it's snapped off in here. I couldn't repair it. It's just not something that can be done. You might be able to get a rod in there or something like that to repair it to the arm, but it's not worth it. You lose the articulation and it's completely pointless. So yeah, I was waiting for Art Figures to reply and send me a new body. He's got a new body now. I dressed him carefully and the arm so far hasn't broken. But then again, I haven't tried to put the gauntlets on yet, which is going to be fun because they are fiddly as crap. Front gauntlet pieces here look pretty good. These are the little straps that he comes with. I really like that they actually included straps with him, because the last version they had, the artistically sort of angular version, the eyeball one, it didn't come with these straps or anything like that. So it's nice that they've included these as an extra. Just adds a little bit more detail to the figure. But yeah, you can see the sort of the problems you're going to have with this figure are mostly in the shoulder area, because you can hear all that squeaking. Listen to this squeak. That's because that shoulder is rubbing up inside here and it's getting a bit difficult to move up and down. So it's going to be a bit tough, and you want to be careful when posing him about. You want to make sure you're turning the arm at the shoulder and make sure that you're not getting it in the way and stopping it and causing damage, because at some point when you're pushing it up, it's likely going to snap, just like this arm did here. So it's probably best to just be careful when posing this guy around as per usual. But I personally feel this is over designing a figure. The body here does not require this amount of detail inside it. A simple 1/6 scale posable body would have done the job just as good, especially as he's got so many layers on. I mean, he's got at least 3 to 4 different layers on his upper body there alone, so that it's going to be a bit restricted anyway. So the best thing to have done was just get a normal 1/6 scale sort of chunky figure and then just fill it out from there. Secondly, I think the body's a bit too big for Frank. He's muscular, but he's not like Arnold Schwarzenegger muscular like this guy. This guy's huge. But yeah, it would have been better if they'd have slimmed down the body a little bit and given it just like a normal, natural 1/6 scale body that wasn't covered in rubber, because then he'd be a bit more posable and a bit more articulated. Now, the surprise feature with this figure that nobody knew he was coming with was the Crossbones helmet. I think that's brilliant. It would have been nice if they'd have showed it to begin with. I think they would have made more sales to begin with if they had shown this. I'm not sure why they didn't. I'm not sure if this was an afterthought, if they were just going to do the face here. But either way, they've given the helmet and it looks really good. I like the details in it. The nose is a bit prominent. It's like that little black spot in the middle. It could be a little bit more faded, but it's, you know, it's not a big deal. But it definitely looks like Crossbones, doesn't it? It's really nicely painted. It's got a nice white sort of skull on the front. The back bit even has real straps on the back. But that's one of the problems this mask has got, because when you're putting this on, you've got to sort of lift it up and then move it upwards like that. And that's one of the problems he's got, because these are glued in here. This one has already come off on me, so I had to re-glue that back on in order to get it to look right. So yeah, again, it's a bit fiddly. That's probably the word I would take from this whole figure in general. Fiddly. Because all those little straps, all these little bits here, all the little buckles, everything on this guy is fiddly as fuck. Seriously, it's really, really difficult when you're just sitting there at a desk without appropriate lighting to put all these buckles on, because it's black on black and you're trying to fit things together and you can barely see what you're doing. Even in good daylight, you can barely see. I had to use one of those sort of like headlamps, like head torches, so that I could actually get some good vision, so that I could actually see all these buckles getting in together. And these things just pull apart very easily. You pull it and it will just pop out. And that's one of the problems, the resistance around these straps. If you want them tight, it's just gonna, if you pull on this now, this buckle will just pull apart, and it's so fiddly and so difficult. This straps here, one of the buckles here is slightly broken, because as you're putting it on, this knobbly bit that it's got to snap onto, it's a bit too difficult, and it just sort of moves around while you're trying to do it. It's just, yeah, the word is fiddly. I would have preferred if they'd have done most of this in a factory, so I wouldn't have to. But then this guy probably never would have come out, because there would have been so much work they had to do to get all this on. I'm hoping and I'm wondering if there is another one in the works somewhere from another company, and they might be able to, you know, make it a little bit easier, so that all these straps and all these buckles and everything like that are already on there, or they're easy to apply, so you wouldn't have to have the headache of hours and hours of work to get this guy fully kitted out. And it does take hours, I'm afraid, guys. There are times when you are putting the straps on this guy and you will be convinced that it's never going to work. The ends of the straps start to fray when you're trying to feed them through these little buckles and things like that. It can just drive you a bit loopy. But once he's all together, he looks good. But you've just got to put the effort in. And I think that's going to be a bit of a turn off for some people. You know, they like to get a figure, they like to have it just that straight out of the box, nicely posed, a few accessories, and just plonk it on the shelf straight away. But this guy, he's like a kit bash. You're going to have to put him together yourself, and you're going to have to pay attention. It's highly likely you're either going to fray a strap, break a buckle, or snap something off of somewhere, because it's so fiddly. So just be careful while you're putting them together, and just take your time and don't rush it. You know, put a few hours aside of your day and just get this guy kitted up. But he was, yeah, it is annoying. Definitely a test of your patience. Okay, another slightly frustrating thing about this guy is trying to get these gauntlets on, because I don't know if you can see in here, but the hands are a little bit ski-whiff. Once you put them inside here, it's hard to get these sort of handles on there as well. Getting them all fitted on, it's going to be a bit difficult. And then we can see that these are the hands that he comes with. Now these ones are a bit more elaborate, because they've got all these sort of lovely details on knuckles and things like that. And I think that's because he's supposed to look like this when he's not wearing the gauntlets. This is what the gloves would look like. Whereas these are the glove holding hands, and they're quite plain, they're quite simple, and they're a lot more easier and just a slightly bit more flexible. And I think that's deliberate, because they want to be able to get these hands inside this gauntlet piece, and it's a bit more difficult to do when you've got all these details on the actual glove itself. So this is the part where it's a little bit difficult, because as you can see, he's got this sort of cuff bit on the bottom, and this can cause problems, not only with putting it inside the gauntlet, but getting it on the hand itself. So what I'm tempted to do is maybe cut off this cuff bit, because if I cut this bit off here, it will be a lot more easy to get it in. And also you can see that most of the glove past the actual wrist area is hidden, so it might be easier to just cut off that cuff bit and modify these so that it can go on the hands just a bit easier. Okay, and trying to get the helmet on the head, you can see it's probably best to take this head off, and then you can see you put this on the back first, and then you've got to slide this over. Be very careful because it says you can rub the nose paint off when you're trying to do this, but again it's super tight, and because of this it's glued on. You don't want to snap, well, like sort of pull the glue off and get the strap sort of off there. So it's, again, it's a little bit like you got to feed it on there calmly and get it on the back somehow. It's a little bit fiddly, but you can do it. You can see just the back of the ears are exposed. And that's about it. And then with the helmet on, he looks really cool. You can see all the sort of scarring detail just in the eye there, but it's all hidden. And I actually prefer this because even though the head sculpt is reasonably okay and it looks enough like Crossbones that you could get away with it, I still think with the helmet on it's nigh on perfect. Okay, and here he is just with the gauntlets on and the mask, and you can see he looks pretty menacing like that, doesn't he? There's a few flourishes that this figure is missing. These straps here, this is held on with double-sided tape, and unfortunately that double-sided tape comes away from the straps quite easily. You can see it's already coming loose here, so that he's going to need some fabric glue. I've got plenty, so that's why I recommend, if you're in this sort of hobby for a long time, you learn there's certain things you need. Super glue and fabric glue are two very important tools that you need in your toolbox. There is always going to be a niggling little problem here and there that you can just easily fix with just a tiny dab of glue, and he pretty much needed it with this guy. He's going to need fabric glue here. He also needed super glue for the strap on his mask here. He might even need some fabric glue for some of the back of these because the Velcro just isn't very strong and it's come away a couple of times. Okay, now I've taken it off the tripod and you can see just he looks really good now. I've managed to glue down the straps a little bit more so that they fit a little easier on the gauntlets and they're not loose. And it looks pretty cool. Look at all the details in the actual suit itself. Overall, it looks really good overall. But unfortunately, there is some work that needs doing before you can get to a point where you're quite happy with him. And honestly, when you first get him, you might actually be really irritated by the end of fitting him up, so that, you know, you just put him aside and you'll be like, I don't want to look at you ever again. But once he's actually all set up and everything, he looks really, really good. So it's a tough one to recommend because of all the work that needs doing just to get him to a place where he looks really good. And it can be very frustrating and annoying, and it can just drive you nuts. So if you are thinking about picking this guy up, I would say be prepared for the you know, the inevitable frustration with all the straps and the little accessories. Sometimes things don't fit together as smoothly as you would hope, and sometimes you're worried as you're moving things around you might break them. So yeah, I can say overall in the end he's a great figure. I just think there's a lot of work that needs doing in order to get him to a place where you're just happy with him. And look, you can see all the bullets on his shoulder part here are all individual. They can actually be pulled out. This is these are individual. These can come off. Lovely details. You can see there's a clip just underneath here. He's got a pouch here, a little grenade. He's got more bullet clips or bullet magazines just here. He's got a sidearm on his leg just here. You can see all the back plating looks really good. I'd like it if there was a little bit more damage in there, but they have weathered up some of the edges to make it look like it has been used before. And I have to say, when you're comparing him to, say, this guy, which is the Marvel Legends 1/12 scale figure, you can see they actually got a lot of details right with this guy, including like the foot plates here. You can see the sidearm here and here. You can see all the magazines on his arm here are exactly right. You can see he's also got the back plate. He's got the bullets on the side. That sort of spanner tool there, another tool here. The gauntlets look good. Now this is different because I've actually made this custom myself. I've weathered it and I've actually added more paint to the figure itself. But you can see, yeah, he's even got the pouch here that he has here. So all the details are right, and these are the knee pads. You can see those little grooves at the bottom of the knee pad are at the bottom, just like they are on the Marvel Legends version. Overall, he looks good. I think he'll look good on the shelf, but there's a lot of work that goes into getting him there, and I think that will turn a few people off. But yeah, you got some time on your hands and you don't mind doing it, yeah, I don't see why you shouldn't pick this one up. That's it, guys. You've got the time and patience, pick this guy up. Okay, hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. If you do me a favour now, if you can get the fuck out of my cave, I'm going to put this guy on the shelf next to Captain America, and they're going to look absolutely boss together. And then I'm going to get around to doing my review of this lady here, the Daft Toys Alita figure with the Mr. Toys head sculpt, including the war paint version. Okay guys, bye bye.